Anyway, all right, good evening, everyone. Time is now 6:20, and for dealing with the Bloomquist decision, I scheduled that for 6:15.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm late.
So we
Okay.
can. Anyway, so tonight we have two issues before the board. The first is approval of a decision on the application of Arthur Bloomquist, and we'll be handling that first. And then after that, when we come 6:30, whichever one comes first, we will proceed to the kennel issue. So anyway, so everybody, my name's Ethan Stiles. I'm the ZBA secretary and acting chair for tonight's meeting and hearing. And to my left is Lucas Kowalski, Alan Wheelock, and David Alberti. Lucas is the other permanent member here. Alan and Dave are alternate members, and for the decision approval, he's the third voting member, and for the kennel issue, Alan's the third voting member. Let's see, our chair, Suzanne Jafarian, is not here with us tonight. She wasn't here in the prior hearing, so her presence is not strictly speaking necessary. All right, so with that out of the way, now I have sent the board members a decision regarding Mr. Bloomquist's request for a special permit to convert his single-family home to a two-family home. If you recall, that was the issue where the bylaw, he couldn't do it at the time because he needed to actually build the addition that he proposed before he could make a request for the special permit. So at that close of that hearing, I indicated that we would deny his application without prejudice, with his ability to return within 1 year without having to file a new application. So that's what I recorded our vote on, is that we voted the last time his matter was before us, and so I believe I sent you a copy of the written decision. I think I made one or two spelling errors. I made one or two corrections to spelling errors, but otherwise, what I have in my hand, which I believe should be the copy that will go to the town clerk, the official copy, should be what you received. Now, does anyone have any questions about the decision that I drafted?
No question.
No question?
Done. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, so then I would make a motion to approve the decision as drafted. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so at 6:23, the decision was approved, so anyway, so I'm going to sign it, and I'll just pass it down so that everybody else can sign it, and we can... Okay.
Thanks. Okay, just reading it right on the top. There you go, guys.
All right, now that is all done, I'll just click on that in the future. Now that that's all done, I would move to close this portion of the meeting, and at 6:30, we can reopen the hearing from Ms. Bartlett.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, all right, so 6 minutes, we open that hearing. And the timing is just so that everyone who wants to come here at this posted time can be here to observe or participate in the proceedings. So please bear with us for 5 minutes.
You want to read this?
Yeah, so I'll take. Oh, it's a,
It's like SLT all over again. Wow. Big gun. Oh, yeah, that's... Say no more.
they're all here for our meeting?
Huh?
I think they're all here for this.
I think so.
Wouldn't know
What,
any
for
other-
what else?
No one else knows what's happening on tonight.
Huh?
I know anything else that's happening on tonight.
Check.
Let me check that.
Maybe she has the supporters. Some supporters.
Okay, let's see. Wow. This is the only hearing that's happening in this room tonight.
There's a lot of stuff here. You gonna read it all?
Yeah, so it shouldn't take too long. It's only take long if I don't. Okay, everyone, the time is now 6:30, and I am going to open the hearing on the continuation of the special of the special permit for the kennel for Amber Bartlett at 8 Elm Street. Do I have a second to reopen the hearing?
22nd.
All right, and Mr. Wheelock Allen is the third voting member for this hearing. All in favor of reopening the hearing? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so now, when we were here at our last meeting, there was an issue that did come up regarding Ms. Bartlett's special request for a special permit, because that time the town clerk had asked us to renew all the special permits that had been issued for kennels in Plympton, and we had several that were of various forms. Some were personal kennels, some were hobby kennels, and there were 2 commercial kennels. Ms. Bartlett's was one of those. The other was for another gentleman. Now, the situation had come about that Ms. Bartlett had applied for a special permit back in 2019. And at that time, the Plympton zoning bylaws allowed for commercial kennels. However, that was the day before the annual town meeting, where the voters chose to approve changes to the bylaws that eliminated overnight boarding of dogs in Plympton. So after that date, the only people who could kennel a dog for commercial purposes overnight were those who had already had a pre-existing use. That was the other gentleman's kennel. So at that point, there were arguments made for both reasons why the permit should be granted and why it should be denied, the renewal of it. And at the end of that meeting, we voted to adjourn to this night and give an opportunity for town council to weigh in on the question, since it did not seem to admit of an easy answer. So anyway, town council did present all the materials that we had received, both from the zoning enforcement officer, one of the board members who wrote a letter, and also the planning board who opposed the special permit, and town council did give me an opinion. Now I'm going to read the pertinent parts of that opinion into the record, and for everyone who's watching or who will watch in the future. And let me start. This is about a page of it. All right. So, okay. It starts with this is our town council, Jonathan Eichman from Koppelman and Page, who I asked to review the matter, and he said, to clarify, a special permit application is not constructively approved until certain statutory requirements are met. In some, pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 48, Sections 9 and 11, those requirements include: 1, a special permit application is filed with the ZBA and the town clerk. 2, the special permit granting authority holds and closes a public hearing on the application. 3, the special permit granting authority fails to decide the application and file its decision with the town clerk within 90 days following the close of the public hearing. 4th, the applicant notifies the town clerk and all parties in interest within 14 days of the conclusion of the 90 days that the special permit authority failed to act and file its decision. 5, if no appeal to court is made within 20 days from the filing of the notice of constructive approval with the town clerk, or an appeal is taken and the court has upheld the constructive approval, the town clerk issues a certificate of constructive approval to the applicant that must be recorded at the Registry of Deeds to take effect. As you can see, the clerk is not required to issue certificates of constructive approval for zoning permits / determinations, variances, special permits, appeals, until a request is made by the applicant, and only then when the statutory requirements for such an issuance have been satisfied. With respect to the kennel at 8 Elm Street, based on the information we have, it appears that the requirements for the constructive approval of the 2019 special permit application were never satisfied, and no certificate of constructive approval was or could have been issued. Failure to hold a hearing within 65 days of application is not a basis for constructive approval. While the zoning enforcement officer deemed the permit constructively granted on that ground, as a matter of law, in my opinion, based on these facts, the 8 Elm Street Kennel 2019 special permit was never constructively approved. Given the above, it appears that no special permit has been issued for the 8 Elm Street Kennel. There is nothing presently before the board to extend or otherwise act upon. And at its next meeting, the board can review the above and inform the town clerk, zoning enforcement officer, and owner of 8 Elm Street accordingly. This is essentially an administrative matter for the board at this point, and no decision needs to be filed and no appeal can be made from the board's determination. Of course, all the above means is that the 8 Elm Street Kennel apparently does not have a special permit to operate, leaving open the question of whether the business is nonetheless operating legally under the zoning bylaws or can obtain the necessary permits to do so. That is a question for the zoning enforcement officer in the first instance. As you know, the zoning enforcement officer issued a written determination in 2020 to the effect that the 8 Elm Street Kennel comply with the zoning bylaws. And until the zoning enforcement officer determines otherwise, in my opinion, the kennel should be treated as being in compliance with the zoning bylaws. Please note that review of building permits issued for 8 Elm Street since 2019 may be relevant to determination of zoning compliance going forward. With respect to the kennel license issued by the town clerk under the general bylaws, based on the prior written determination of the zoning enforcement officer that the kennel complies with the zoning bylaws, which determination has never been rescinded, and the operation of the kennel since 2019, I recommend that the town clerk continue to treat the 8 Elm Street Kennel as compliant with zoning and issue kennel licenses accordingly. The zoning issue can be visited once the question of zoning compliance has been finally determined. And that ends the relevant portion of his email. And the last thing I would add to that is I did ask Kathy in the building department, and she did indicate that a building permit was issued to renovate the garage for a dog kennel on July 16, 2020, and she appears to be signed off by all the inspectors who need to handle that. So I don't think I actually sent that part to you, but it's a fairly minor matter. So anyway, so that is what our town council told us when we put the question to him. So now, so that's where we stand. I don't recall anyone else in this room other than the zoning enforcement officers who are present with us may have been privy to that email. So anyway, so with that, first, I would ask if my fellow board members have any comment to make.
I have no comment.
No comment.
All right. So, my comment on it is, it seems to me that, if we were to follow the town council's advice, then I think that, that this issue may arise again in the future, but it's not something that it may not be definitively be able to be addressed tonight, given the procedural posture that this case is in. Essentially, you have a situation where someone has applied for renewal of a special permit, has been told that their original special permit was not valid, but nonetheless that they have a kennel license due to reasons that the town has had some involvement in, and thus the operation may appear to continue as long as the zoning enforcement officer does deem to be her operations to be in compliance with the with the zoning bylaws as he interprets them. Now, of course, there may be a situation where other people may have a different interpretation of the zoning bylaw, and thus there may be procedures that would require us to revisit this matter at a later time. But I think for tonight, I see the wisdom in following the direction of our town council, and essentially dismissing. We do not issue a permit we not issue a special permit or a renewal of a special permit, and let the status quo remain as it is.
I certainly would recommend that we give people who came here tonight the opportunity to speak to it.
Absolutely. So with that, unless any other board members have a comment before we begin, I would be happy to have anyone who wishes to speak. I know there's a lot of people here tonight, but obviously that there's new information out here. So if that's going to affect anyone who wishes to speak, or persuade them that's no longer required to speak, we're certainly not going to dissuade you from that. But anyway, anyone who wishes to speak, can speak on this issue. But before you do so, make sure you you give your name and your street address if you're a town resident. So does anyone like to speak on this issue? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you have a preference where I stand?
Nope.
Okay. For the record, Attorney Barry Crimmins of 909 Washington Street in Stoughton. I'm representing Amber Bartlett on behalf of the Barker House kennel license, and I appreciate the chairman reading the email into the record that they received from town council. In light of that email and in light of the comments of the chair, I guess my comments can be very brief tonight, particularly in light of the fact that there are several people who do want to speak, including my client and several of her clients and customers who are here tonight. I just have a procedural question, just so I understand exactly where we are procedurally. Did the board open the public hearing tonight, the continued public hearing?
No, we opened the public hearing back in April. So this is a continuation of that hearing.
Okay, but I assume, is the matter open this evening?
Yes, it is open this
It
evening.
is, okay, fine.
Yeah, so we opened, it was April 14th is when we first considered this, we opened the hearing on these ones. And it was not just Ms. Hurd, but every person who had a kennel, it's just that she was the only one who presented an issue.
Okay, so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume at some point tonight, when everyone's done speaking, the board is gonna have to take some type of a vote to at least close the public hearing, and then, obviously, whatever the board chooses to do, it's up to the board, but I'm operating on the assumption that that will happen at some point after folks have been given an opportunity to speak.
That does seem to be the correct procedure, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
The
Chairman.
only one.
So with that,
The only one, right?
Maybe.
and I'd like to just reserve comment at the end if I hear anything that I think may need clarification or raises any further questions. But at this point, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to allow Ms. Amber Bartlett to address the board.
Oh, sure.
Right. I'm reading notes because I don't want to forget anything pertinent. So, good evening. Thanks for the
Good evening.
chance to talk. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Dr. Amber Bartlett, owner of the Barker House here in Plympton. And I wanted to take the opportunity tonight to step back for a minute from permits, procedures, technical details, and just talk real quick about why the Barker House exists in the first place and why I believe it really matters to our community. The Barker House was built out of one simple belief, that people deserve to feel confident that their animals, who are more often than not part of their family, are loved and safe and cared for and genuinely known by the people who are taking care of them when they're not able to be with their families. And like I said, many families, these dogs are not their pets. They're companions, emotional support, their routine, comfort, family. For many people in our community, having a trusted place for their dog allows them to go to work, to care for their children, to respond to emergencies, travel when needed, or just simply breathe calmly knowing that their dog is well taken care of. Over the last 6 years, we've had the privilege of supporting many of our local families, including our healthcare workers, firefighters, police officers, town employees, other small business owners, and working parents who rely on us every single day. And in many ways, supporting their dogs helps support their ability to show up for everyone else that they need to show up for. What we've built has become more than just a business. It's become part of the rhythm of so many of our clients' lives. We've worked hard to create something that reflects the values of relationships and community. We've invested heavily into maintaining and improving our property, operating responsibly, creating jobs, and building something that people honestly trust and rely on. And I also want to acknowledge something personal. As a single mom and a business owner, this business is not just a project to me. It's my livelihood. It reflects years of sacrifice, investment, risk, hard work, and commitment. I chose to build my life in Plympton. I chose to raise my son here. And I intentionally chose to invest here by building multiple businesses in this town because I believed, and I still believe, that Plympton is a community worth investing in and growing with. I understand that towns evolve and that growth and change can sometimes create difficult conversations, but I also believe that communities thrive when they find ways to preserve their character while also supporting the people and businesses that contribute positively to the town and the families who live here. Plympton has recognized and supported the Barker House for years through inspections, licensing, permits, and our ongoing operations. My hope tonight is not to create division or any type of conflict. My hope is that we can move forward together in a way that recognizes the value that this business brings to local families, our employees, and to the town itself. I care deeply about this town and the people in it. And I just want to move forward in a way that helps support the character of our town and the families and other small businesses that help make it what it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, do I tell them these?
No one knows.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Bartlett has several letters, in addition to the folks that came out tonight in support of her, she has several letters of support that
All
we'd
right.
like to introduce to the record.
We'll be happy to take them.
Thank you.
I know a lot of y'all had speeches ready, so no.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Hurd, for that, and thank you, Attorney Crimmins. All right, now, does any member of the public who is not the applicant wish to speak tonight?
I'd like to speak.
All right.
Mike Slauson, I'm 190 West Street. I'm here to speak in support of Dr. Bartlett and her kennel license application for the Barker House. While I can't speak to the bylaws or the zoning considerations related to the property, I can speak directly to their facilities, the owner, the staff, and the outstanding care that they provided to my dog, Maddie, over the last 10 months. I've taken Maddie to the Barker House for nearly a year, and my experience has been consistently positive. The staff is knowledgeable, attentive, and genuinely kind, and they care deeply for the animals in their care. I've also come to know the owner, Amber, as hardworking, honest, and dedicated to running a safe, professional business in our community. My dog is family to me, and trusting someone with their care is not something that I take lightly. The Barker House has consistently provided excellent care, and I would feel completely safe leaving Maddie overnight at their facility. That level of trust says a great deal about the quality of care that they provide. The facility itself is always clean, it's inviting, and it's well maintained. Every time I visit, it's evident that great effort is put into maintaining a safe and comfortable environment for the dogs in their care. Plympton is a town with many dog owners and many families who, like me, care deeply about their pets. Plympton is truly a dog town, and businesses like the Barker House provide an important and valuable service to residents. Plympton residents can have confidence and peace of mind that if they need to leave town overnight, they can entrust their dogs to the staff at the Barker House. Beyond simply providing daycare and boarding, the Barker House contributes positively to the community by giving pet owners a reliable, professional option close to home. Small businesses like this help strengthen our town and meet the needs of residents who want safe, high-quality care for their pets on a personal level. I respectfully ask the board to consider the positive impact that the Barker House has had on local families and pet owners when reviewing this application. Based on my experience, I strongly support the approval of their kennel license. Thank you. I'll give them a copy of my letter to the board as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
Not a town resident, we're from Kingston, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, Jason Allison, Nicole recommended from Kingston.
Hold on, can you,
Jason, Jason,
yeah,
Allison, Allison.
uh-huh.
11 Eagle Drive, Kingston.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So I'm a born and raised New Yorker, lived there for 42 years, and part of the reason, my wife's from Massachusetts, I'm also a Jets fan, don't hold it against me. But part of the reason why I wanted to come up here after I could retire was the fact that this is a small community, and for 42 years dealing with the bureaucracy of New York City, which is a bureaucracy I worked for, I felt like town governments up here represented something that I never experienced and something from the past that we might have lost over the last God knows how many decades. And that's a sense of town government being able to work for the people that live in it. And like, we are from Kingston, we come over here not far, but we trust Sam and we trust everyone down at the Barker House with our 13-year-old golden retriever. And I kind of feel like town meetings like this represent a life I never knew. And the fact that you guys have a chance to hopefully help out a business person who's built something, I would hope greatly that you guys can see the value in that in an era when other elements of community seem to be fraying. And I think it's a small thing, but it's also not. So I would hope that you would let her keep working.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
I will. My name's Mosey Conley. I'm in Kingston too, 152 Elm Street. And my dog, Guinness, is one of the OGs at the Barker House. He's been there since September of 2020. And he's our baby, and he's a big Bernese mountain dog. And the only place I will leave him is with Amber and her professional staff, whom are so reliable, attentive, kind, and just really dependable. He's gone to school there several days a week for the past almost 6 years, and he's been boarded overnight with farm fresh eggs, one-on-one plate time, a story at night, everything that you want your baby to have. And I teach in Kingston, I teach at Sacred Heart, and so when I'm there full-time, Guinness is always at the Barker House, and loves Sam, always can text her at any time, the entire staff. He gets groomed there. Everything there is spotless. It's the only place I will ever go for anything with him. And if there's ever been an issue with him, they call me. But Amber's land there is beautiful, pristine, well-kept. There are animals, the dogs are all safe, they're secure, and they really just meet everybody's needs that you want and expect for your pet. So again, I can't say enough about how professional Amber and her staff is, but the entire setting there is what you picture, like sending your dog off to with the land and the farms, and there used to be animals there, and the eggs that you can get, and the warm environment, and the entire staff. It's just like, oh, I kind of want to stay here for the day, but I got to go to school. But I like everything, I just hope that the Barker House just remains the way it is, and I know it will thrive. And let me tell you, she's doing a good thing for the town of Plympton, her and her entire staff. So they have my approval. Love them all.
Thank you very much. Who would like to go next? Let's see. You, sir.
Yeah, hi, I'm Brian Kelvin, I live in Bridgewater. I've been sending my dog Jazzy to the Barker House for about 5 years now. She doesn't trust easy, she's a kind of a dog with some issues, she's a rescue, but the Barker House has really become like a family to her. And they are people that she really trusts. She stays overnight there, she goes twice a week. We love sending her there, and I just want to note that there's a lot of people from outside of Plympton coming here tonight, and it's just a lot of people making the trip often to come here and give money to the facility, but also generate good revenue towards the town. So yeah, I think it would be a shame to shut it down, but also keeping it doesn't really hurt anybody, but it helps a lot of people. So very much in favor.
Thank you. All right, who would like to go next? You, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Dr. Nora Finn. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm a resident.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name, please?
Yep, Dr. Nora, N-O-R-A,
Yeah.
Finn, F as in Frank, I-N-N.
Okay.
I am a resident of 119 Franklin Street in Halifax. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm an employee of Mass General Brigham, and I work in the city of Boston helping those who are less fortunate in that community. I have been a client of the Barker House since 2021, when I purchased a dog for my children from a breeder in Maine, because the pandemic destroyed my children's confidence. They had been diagnosed with anxiety levels unbeknownst to anything that anybody's ever seen due to the pandemic. And the greatest thing that I could have ever done was have my dog become a client at the Barker House. I can say that my dog has been there 5 days a week, essentially since he was months old. Amber helped train my dog, and the girls that have been employed there for years, including the two that I'm standing with now, have been absolutely nothing but fantastic to me and my family. I had gone through a divorce over 1.5 years ago, and there have been many occasions where I've needed help with getting my dog corralled and being able to have him be dropped off at my home, given the fact that my job often takes me away from my family and keeps me in the city of Boston for far longer than I would ever anticipate. In addition to that, I have a whole host of medical issues that have required me to have 3 different oncology doctors at Mass General Hospital, and there have been numerous occasions where on a very, very short notice, I've gone in for what was a random, normal, regular appointment at Mass General and found myself admitted for days on end. And if I did not have the kennel option at Amber's facility, I would have been absolutely screwed. I have no family. I have 2 children. One is 17, one is 19. The 19-year-old is in college in Maine, and for a period of about 6 months last year was in Morocco. Certainly not available to pick up the dog in any stretch, in any way, shape, or form, for me while I was stuck inpatient at Mass General. They have been providing such a tremendous service to the community, and I honestly don't know what I would do without them. And I will say this, the fact that I have come to this town meeting and I've never attended any, in any town that I've lived in, either Halifax or Kingston, speaks volumes as to the commitment that I have to this company.
Thank you. All right, who would like to go next? See, you, ma'am.
Good evening, my name is Beth
We should leave
Caudill.
it this
My husband, William Caudill, is here as well.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name, please?
Beth Caudill, Caudill, and I'm a Plymouth resident.
Okay.
We have been with the Barker House since they opened from day one. We had shipped 2 rescue dogs from Mississippi during the early days of the pandemic when Barker House was opening. One of our dogs has since passed in the last year. Barker House is a family to everyone. They don't just consider the dogs their family and their children, but consider the parents and siblings as well as the family. And I've been to other dog daycares with my dogs, and Barker House is surely the #1 dog daycare and family that I would trust my dogs. My dog that's still alive is 5 years old, and she is a very difficult dog to manage. And Amber and Sam and their staff have been just amazing. Clients review pictures of their dogs every day. The facility is warm and inviting. The boarding is like you would have your own personal child with a babysitter or with a nanny. If you have an emergency, they're there for you. And Plympton and any other town would not be a town without a fabulous family like the Barkers.
Thank you. We can have like 2 or 3 more? 2 or 3 more, right?
Yeah.
All right, who would like to speak next? You, ma'am.
Sure. My name is Melissa Topolini.
How do you spell the last name?
It's T as in Thomas, O-F-F as in Frank, O-L-O-N-I.
Thank you.
And I live at 26 Maple Street in Plympton. So my husband, Andrew, and I are residents of Plympton and also patrons of the Barker House. My husband and I started boarding our dogs, Sunny and Charlie, at the Barker House back in 2021, which is hard to believe. We are frequent travelers, so finding a local dog hotel was very important to us. But finding one that my dog, Charlie, felt comfortable with was absolutely critical. When we adopted Charlie, we didn't really know much about him, only that he was very timid. It seemed like every experience was brand new for him. Literally hearing pots and pans while we were cooking, watching television, seeing a new picture hanging on the wall, that was all upsetting to Charlie. He struggled with any minor changes in his environment. Over time, we became incredibly bonded to Charlie, and he trusted us implicitly. But he really couldn't tolerate anyone, including family, coming to our home. It changed our lives, and we molded our lives around him. But at the Barker House, Charlie thrived. He could run free, could engage with other dogs, and he bonded with the staff. For my husband and me, the Barker House gave us peace of mind, knowing that Charlie was happy and well cared for while we were away. We've seen firsthand the quality of care each animal receives at the Barker House. As dog parents, we always appreciate the quick responses, pictures, and extra snuggles our dogs receive. Sadly, Charlie passed away last August. Our dear Charlie knew a lot of suffering in his short life, but he also knew joy. And the Barker House absolutely played a role in that. As a pet owner, the grief never goes away, right? It's always just right there, living beside you. But the Barker House, my family is just one of the families that have benefited from the services. And our dog Sunny continues to thrive there. As a resident of Plympton, I know that the Barker House is an asset to this town, and I would be greatly disappointed if their ability to operate their business in any way was altered.
Thank you. All right. Show of hands. How many satisfied customers of the Barker House are in this room?
Yes, that's better. How many unsatisfied?
Excuse me.
Two dogs.
Is there anyone who lives on Elm Street who's here, who would like to speak? Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Jay Dunn. I live at 9 Elm Street.
Hold on 1 second, please. Go ahead, please.
And so I have in the past, I don't have any living dogs now, but I've boarded dogs. I've seen the Barker House from the ground up. Amber's a good neighbor. She works hard. She runs a good business. I know that when I brought dogs there, it's clean. It's everything you want, in a business owner. And I just think that, again, I don't know the ins and outs of all the bylaws, but I think it would be a shame if she wasn't able to continue doing what she's doing, considering essentially, she's asking us to continue doing what she's doing. I think she's at least attempted to do everything on the up and up. God knows how many people are boarding dogs around here, and not coming to try to get licenses, right? And she's trying to do it the right way, and I just think it was the right thing to do. So.
Thank you. Did you receive a notice in the mail?
I did.
Okay, good. See. Oh, I forgot to mention that I did, after the last meeting, one of the attendees at the last meeting questioned the validity of the meeting because notices did not appear to have been sent out. So I did make sure to send out notices by first-class mail to all the abutters within a 300-foot radius of Ms. Bartlett's property. So I should put that on the record that I did that, and obviously I think it has borne fruit. All right, so I think
There are still hands
Can I
up.
say something? I think I have something important to say.
Sure.
My name's Tammy Fair. I'm from Carver. I live on Meadow Street in Carver, and it's Fougere.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last name?
Sure. F as in Frank,
Yeah.
Ougere, and it's Tammy, Tami.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I prepared this, but I'm not going to read this, because this has a bunch of big words that look nice together, but I'm going to say, I want to talk about the dogs, and I want to talk about my dog Jasper. My dog Jasper, we got Jasper when he was 12 weeks old. He's from Kentucky. He was found on the streets of Kentucky, and we got him. I was planning on getting a senior pup. My husband decided he wanted a puppy. I have not had a puppy in 11 years, so everybody that has puppies knows that's a whole lot of work. And they eat a lot of things. And if you're not home with them, they still eat a lot of things. So my life suddenly became, I was stuck in the house 24/7 with a puppy that ate everything. And we met Sam at puppy classes for Jasper. And I became friends with Sam. And then Jasper, there was this wonderful thing called daycare that I had never taken any of my dogs to before. So Jasper started to go to daycare, and he loves Sam, and he loves the staff.
and he was well cared for. But my husband works for the Department of Defense, and he has to go away on some trips. And when he goes, it's a lot of times short notice. And some of the places are pretty nice, like Hawaii, and I get to go along with him. But again, short notice. So we started boarding while we're gone. There's been times where we've been stuck longer than we anticipated there, and Jasper goes to board. But the big thing, the important thing for me is, I have a friend who owns a dog kennel in another local town that I could easily go to and probably get a discount out of that whole thing. I still choose to go to the Barker House with Jasper. And the reason I do that is because most daycares, if you take, or boarding facilities, if you just board for the week, they're in a kennel the whole time. But if they get to go to daycare too, while you're gone, they get to go to daycare and they board at night. So he's with somebody, he's with the other dogs all day long. And if you take that boarding part away, it's gonna force people like me and probably others here to decide, do we continue to go to daycare so we can do stuff during the day, go to work, go to run errands, whatever. And then if we're away, do we send them to a whole different facility to board? Or do we unfortunately have to pick one and leave the Barker House? And then that puts employees at risk of lost wages, lost jobs, all of that. So I really think that this is much more important, and it's a much bigger issue than just a permit. And that's from me. And you can have the nice fancy words.
Thank you. All right, we've had 9 people, but I think we can do fit in one more. Who would like to be the last one to speak?
Can I just say something as a resident of Plympton? And I appreciate all the other people coming from out of town.
All right.
I think that shows the quality
Could-
of business.
could you please-
It's Joel Fanton, Fanton. I live at 137 County Road, where I've lived for the last 22 years. Prior to that, I lived all my life in Kingston. I won't tell you how long, because then you'll know how long. But I lost my train of thought. I really can't add much more than what everyone else has added regarding the quality of this business and saying, but it's really more than a business. It's really a family. And I think you will hear by folks that are members of Plympton helping Plympton. It really is a big family in Plympton. Whenever you're looking for someone, there's always a half dozen people that will tell you, oh, here's a plumber, here's a carpenter, or I can help you with that. And I think that's the kind of community that we want to foster. Selfishly, from a taxpayer standpoint, I know we want to encourage business to come to the town, and we appreciate small business. And I guarantee you that all the people that are coming from out of town, and even those that are in town, when they're dropping off their dogs, they're going to the liquor store, maybe to get some beer or whatever for the weekend, refreshments, yes, thank you. They're going to Katie's, they're getting burgers, they're going to Star Chalk Farm, they're getting gas at the gas station. And that's what we need. I would not trust friends and family taking care of my 2 dogs who are on the cover, but I trust Amber and Sam. Just a recent example, I had a conference scheduled. I was supposed to give a presentation at Dartmouth University. I had to cancel because the older dog had irritable bowel disease, just like it was. And so I had made the reservation well ahead of time, had to cancel, went online and canceled. The next thing I know, I got a telephone call saying, are they okay? And I explained that Raul's had diarrhea for the last 3 months. I said, I don't want to put that on you. And they said, of course, that was no problem whatsoever. We don't mind. So that's the kind of people they are. They're always there for you to help you out. And I think the town owes Amber and the rest of the staff the duty to validate her business so she doesn't have to come back here and worry about it, because it's a great business. And that's what Plympton should be about, supporting local business. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think after 10 speakers, I think I do appreciate the sentiment in the room. And I think it could be summarized as that essentially the Barker House is a wonderful place and provides a necessary service. And that Ms. Bartlett and her team do treat the animals with care and respect. And no one here has expressed any opposition to, as I say right now, no one's expressed any opposition to her operation. And and everybody thinks that she's performing an admirable service for the many canine lovers in this area. Now, I feel that probably doesn't quite express the sentiment in the room, but best I can do on short notice. But anyway, is there anyone here who has a contrary view, who would like to speak? Anyone brave enough? All right. Having received no opposition, let us return now to what we're going to do. So I think at this moment, unless anyone has something really unique they need to tell us, I think we should move to close the public hearing and then move on to the deliberation and figure out what we're going to do about this thing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, so now the public hearing is closed, so now the board is going to, consider what action we're going to take on this issue. So now.
According to the opinion, there's no application before the board.
Yes, I mean, so as Attorney Eichmann said, he does not believe that there is currently a valid permit before the board. And he did indicate that procedurally that the requirements for a constructive grant was not met. However, again, he does point out that the zoning enforcement officer did issue a decision that indicates that she is currently in compliance with the zoning bylaws, and he has not changed that opinion. Now, that opinion, I think, may not be beyond question, but for purposes of tonight, I do believe that at present, the Zoning Board of Appeals does not presently have jurisdiction over this application, and that should be we cannot make we're essentially voting to make a non-decision, because we can't really make a decision on a permit that technically speaking doesn't exist. And thus I think that any future action regarding these operations must go along with what has been envisioned by the town council's opinion. It seems to be the best reasoned opinion that we have here. So I would vote that we essentially. I think it now comes down to the point of deciding what we're going to vote on, how we're going to do it. So let's deal with the motion that has to be worked on and approved. I think the motion would have to be to dismiss Ms. Bartlett's request for renewal of a special permit, and pretty much leave it at that.
Chairman?
Yes.
Point of information, if I may.
Sure.
Ms. Bartlett did not submit an application at this time, so.
Actually, you make a good point, because it was ultimately the town clerk who initially requested for all the kennels to be renewed, because they had all expired, because the bylaw says that the special permits should be renewed every 5 years, and there's this new law that she told me about that states that that we need to ensure that the kennels are being renewed periodically, because in the past they had not been. So that's what prompted us to have the initial hearing and we had all the kennel owners either present or gave them notice, and no one and there was no objections raised to any of them. They all had their clean bill inspection from the animal control officer, as did Miss Bartlett, and so those are all approved. But for this one, I don't, regardless of, who initiated, I don't think we can based on what town council's told me, I don't think that we can approve a renewal of it, and grant, and what happens after that, doesn't fall within our purview, at least not at this time.
And on behalf of my client, we have no objection if the board simply wants to take no action. How you draft that for purposes of, if you're going to file something with the town clerk's office or what, I'll leave that to the discretion of the board. But the suggestion of sort of no decision, no action, because in effect there's not an application before you, we are perfectly fine with.
Yes, and I think that is an appropriate approach to take, but we will make up minutes of these proceedings. Then we will file those, I think. We can approve those next week sometime. So that, because I pretty much already had them started, but after hearing everybody tonight, I do want to incorporate their sentiments into that. And the meeting is being recorded, by the way, for, Area 58 Plympton, and it'll be viewed on YouTube probably within a day or two. So that is, we can review that and finish what will become minutes. So I would suggest that we formally vote to take no action on the request by the town clerk to renew the special permit for Amber Heard and 8 Elm Street.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and what's that, 7:15? Well, it's 16. Okay. Okay. Moved, no action. Taken on town clerk's request for renewal of special permit. All right, and with that, I don't feel there's any other business before the board tonight. Does anyone else disagree?
No.
All right, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, everyone else for coming.